217 Recovery Podcast. Welcome. My name is Corey Winfield. Joining me today again is Rob.
Hey, what's up?
And very, very special guest. And her name is Joyce.
What's up?
What up, Joyce?
What's up?
Hey, before we get to Alyssa Milano, I know you want to talk about her sex strike really bad, but we want to talk about you, fam. That's what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about you, fam.
Okay, because Rob and I have never been there, but this is the fourth year. It's the fourth annual.
Fourth annual, not first annual.
No, you know you can't have a first annual, Joyce.
You ever?
You can't.
No, but you ever see that first annual?
You do, and now you're forever, because you're going to see it forever and ever and ever. You're going to see it, and you're going to be like, "Damn, Corey."
Why wouldn't they just say premiere?
Or inaugural. I don't know, because they don't know any better, Joyce.
I don't think inaugural is the right word.
I think it is.
It is.
Yeah, first inaugural.
You want to bet $100 on it?
No.
Okay. I can never get anybody to bet me. But anyway, this is their fourth annual, and you've been there 3 out of the 4.
Right.
So every single year,
Yep.
you've been there, and you're going to be there this year.
Yep, wouldn't miss it.
What can we expect?
Expect a lot of resource sharing tables, sober living communities, new addiction treatment centers, even some of them not just on the traditional treatment centers, but offering holistic therapy. And then aside from that, there's going to be like an acupuncture booth, a booth where you can take naloxone training or Narcan training. They'll write you a script to pick up more at your local pharmacy, but they'll give you some doses at that time. But 30-minute presentation of how to administer Narcan. And what most people don't know is that you don't just spray the Narcan up the nose or give the injection, but you also have to know a little bit about breathing techniques and using CPR to go along with it. Because what happens when someone overdoses is the heart keeps pumping, but the lungs stop working. And for those people that are apprehensive about doing CPR, even if you just do chest compressions, there's enough oxygen left in the lungs when that person stops breathing to get that oxygen circulated throughout the body. But it talks a lot about that. Just saving that one life that can make the difference. And I'm a huge advocate for people dispensing Narcan, administering Narcan. There's been quite a few things in social media where, certain cities or certain states are saying, 3-strike rule, you're out. You can get Narcan 3 times administered by EMT or law enforcement, and then after that, you're done. As an advocate for others, I don't stand for that. I don't care if it takes 8, 9, 10, 11 times. It might be that 8, 9, 10, or 11th time that person decides to commit and change their life.
So with the 3-strike rule, what does that mean? Does that mean 3 shots of Narcan, or
that means that they've been called to that individual and they're on their 3-strike list?
Oh,
so they've been called to different EMT or law enforcement have arrived at the scene. That person has needed Narcan. They've given it once. Another incident occurs. They've given it twice. They're put on a 3-strike rule, and after that 3rd time, they're not given it at all. There's a lot of cities and states that have adopted these ridiculous policies in order to save money. And the only thing Narcan enables is breathing. It's no different than the person that is a diabetic and doesn't follow their diet plan with their doctor and is needed to, get an extra shot of insulin or ends up in the emergency room. We certainly don't tell those people, 3-strike rule, and we're no longer going to give you medical attention. So it's just ridiculous, and it takes more people to get out there and fight for the rights of others and those suffering from substance use disorder.
Right, because we'd rather have that than hope or pray that one of the lawmakers' grandkids or kids becomes addicted and needs it and dies because of the 3rd strike rule. We don't want that to happen.
Right.
It would be much more fun for us to come together at UFAM, little celebration, learn a little bit about each other, get to meet a lot of people. And I heard there's a lot of good-looking people there.
There might be. It depends on where you're looking. Are you looking on the outside? Or are you looking in the inside?
Both.
Are you sure you look on the inside?
I don't know. That's questionable.
It is questionable. I think his motives are highly questionable.
Yeah.
We're there, and this is going to sound really weird. And for the people listening, we're at a library, the Boyne City Library, and we have the windows open because it's 150 degrees in here. Setting the scene, Rob. And we just had a motorcycle go by, so that's what that is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so back to my unusual question. Are there little people tents there?
I don't recall.
Because little people, they struggle with addiction, so they should be in recovery.
You mean young people?
No, he means like literally
Like little people of America, little
like
people.
physically little. Like,
LittlePeopleOfAmerica.com, littlepeopledate.com.
Substance use disorder affects everyone, and it doesn't matter what your background is, what your age is, or
So-
what your demographic is.
Yeah.
That there could be.
There you go, Corey.
It doesn't
They
matter
might-
your demographic, but if you come from inner city or if you come from that kind of line, it does kind of affect you.
Well, yeah.
And
You know, if I see one of those people, I'll direct them to your booth so that you may meet them
my
and
God.
get to know their story.
okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Little people in recovery. You can
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
start
see?
a new table next year.
Everybody, a little table, little tent.
It's just a little, right next.
I
to
use my
217.
nieces. I'll go get.
Yeah.
Alyssa Milano, we'll talk about her in a minute too. But back on track, we got sidetracked there. So the UFAM event starts at 10 a.m., ends at 4. But do people just kind of still mill around a little bit? I mean,
It's come and go all day, whenever you want to be there.
Okay.
So, the one thing that I've seen in the years past is that although it says it ends at 4, is that many of the people start packing up around 2:33. It starts to die down.
So, like-
And then unfortunately, we have another rush that shows up at 3:30 because these people have tried to get off of work or, out of their commitments and tried to be there. So I feel bad for those that when we start to see others packing up, we pack up and call it a day. But there's people that just beat their feet to get there. So
I'm used to staying till events until they end because that's when I stop getting paid. But at least, we're out there for free and it's a good cause and we just want to get our name out there because if people listen, one of my friends back home, Denon, he reached out and was like, hey man, we're going to make a trip to Boyne City this summer and I really want to talk to you. I want to tell you my story. And I was like, excellent, bro. Like that's what I'm talking about. And it's the people that I didn't even think that he was listening, so it's those people that are listening and, and it just really makes a difference. It makes us kind of feel like, hey, doing something good.
Yeah.
But a lot of information is going to be there. And at our booth, I went ahead and made some little flyers. And one of them was like the do's and the don'ts. Like what you want to say to people who are in recovery and things you don't.
Right.
Like just different words. And I would have brought them in here, but I'm not prepared today, Joyce.
That's all right. That's all right. Faces and Voices of Recovery created their own addictionary of words we want to abandon. Like we want to stop saying the word addiction, actually. And we don't want to say substance abuse. We want to say the word substance use. Because I myself, as a person in recovery, never abused alcohol. Never abused it. If you look up the word abuse, it says to neglect or not take care of. And I always knew when I was picking it up, how I was going to get there, and where I was going to store it and take very good care of it when I got home. So we don't abuse products. We use them or maybe misuse them. But we do not abuse them.
Did you ever hide them under couch cushions? Bottles?
Everywhere. I had some of the most strangest places and when I meet other people, I thought I had these unique places of storing things, and not all that unique. But one story was I once took the entire jack out of the back hatch of my car. Took the jack out, popped the little cover off, stuffed it full of mini bottles of wine, and that worked out well for a while until one day I was traveling with my husband and my kids, and we get a flat tire. And my husband, who is mechanically inclined, who can change a tire very quickly given the right tools, goes to the back hatch, pops it open, and it's a slew of profanity comes out when all it is mini bottles of wine. And then he threw them out. I was like devastated because here I am sitting on the side of the road, and that's like the one thing I could have used right then.
Yeah.
And there he is dumping them all out. So that doesn't go out so well. And when I sold that car, you always have someone that goes over it and checks it, and they're like, "So you're missing the jack?" And I don't even remember where I put it.
Yeah,
I think I put it in a Walmart shopping cart, like in a
just-
parking lot, and just like, I don't
just
need this
left it
anymore. So, I mean,
Yeah,
someone else
AAA.
is like, hey, why would someone put a jack in a shopping cart? This is odd. But, hey, one man's trash is another person's treasure.
Yeah.
So,
We've come a long way, Joyce.
I have.
Yeah.
So can I ask, I know there's certain things you don't want to talk about
Like Alyssa Milano.
No, she wants to talk about that.
No, you want to talk about that. I don't think she wants to.
Can I ask, like, what's people listening right now, like, what do you want them to know about you? Because you're like 85 different things.
Well, so my drug of use was alcohol. And as of today, I'm 1,930 days sober. I wouldn't pick up a drink today no more than I would try and put poop back into my butt. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you guys will go home later and maybe try that. Mm-hmm. Maybe, Corey?
No.
Rob?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
I would never try it, so I'm never going to pick up that drink. But aside from working in a treatment center, I'm an Angel volunteer. I'm a volunteer recovery coach. I volunteer for the Otsego County Sobriety Court Board. The board of directors for the Rural Communities Opiate Response Planning Grant, and we're right now getting ready to move into the implementation stage, where we will begin to spend millions of dollars for the opiate crisis within 16 counties. And as far as that, I mean, I eat, live, and breathe recovery, where, you know, I used to say I used to drink like a fish, but a fish drinks water, right? Mm. But if you use that same analogy, that's not who I am today. Not at all.
Wow.
Yeah, clearly. Mm-hmm. And that helps you. And that's what I kind of found, too, is doing the podcast. You know, it's something that I consider work. It's something that it's more than a hobby. It's not obsession, but it helps me and it keeps me sober. Yeah. And it's, hey, man, as long as I'm doing that, I don't care what everybody says. You know, I know at the end of the day, I hit my pillow and I'm sober. That's a good day. It's a win.
Every time you talk about recovery, you have the chance to help another individual. And you know, you're not going to save them all. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. But if we can save one, and that one turns out to be someone who eats, lives, and breathes recovery, then they can save another. And we can only hope that it'll be like a ripple effect, where that just seems to trickle out and help others.
Right.
So,
and it seems like what you were talking about earlier, as far as the 3-strike rule, mm-hmm. kind of gets in the way of that, because it may take one person their first time, which, I don't know, it happens. It may take somebody else 20 times, you know. Just kind of touching back on that, I mean, I don't know how long it took you. I know it's taken me quite a few different times, but, you know, I don't necessarily know if for a politician to step in. And there are a couple of questions I want to ask you as far as some of the crazy laws that we have going on that mm-hmm. are made up. But for other states, now Michigan isn't one of those states that's doing that, is it?
There might be certain cities, and we haven't heard of that in quite some time. A lot of that was in the last year and a half, when the whole rash of overdoses really started to spike. You know, and you'll see that on social media where, you know, there's a bad batch going around XYZ city. Quite honestly, they're all bad batches, you know, so start using the right terminology for those. And now we have fentanyl test strips, which you can get at harm reduction to test the level. Like, is this got something in it other than heroin? You know, there's the biggest stigma or barriers, I guess, more barriers to recovery that we have is politics. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, sometimes those politics surround ourselves in our own recovering community. You have people that judge others for their substance use. And, you know, well, my drug of use might have been alcohol. You know, at least I never did heroin. You'll hear people say things like that. And that's just uncalled for, you know, but we're taught that a drug is a drug is a drug. And it's those behaviors that make us make those mm-hmm. changes.
Right.
But, yeah, if we could just, you know, stop judging others for, you know, our past or our current use and just humble ourselves to learn something about another individual, you know, we could really make an impact, you know. You got 23 million people living in recovery, but you've got 23 million people suffering. And of that 23 million in recovery, many of them won't even speak up about it. So that's what we need in change, is we need people that are in recovery, that have done this for 20, 30 years, that are still living and eating, breathing recovery, to stand up and be that face and the voice of recovery. And until we do that, we're not going to be able to make a big impact. But I could go on and on, you know, what we could do better and what we could do differently, you know, but it's politics surrounds a lot of that.